Hi, hey, hello, and merry meet everyone. So this is going to be the first video and like a sort of video information series kind of thing that I want to do on what I know about the different pantheons. Now, as I learn about different ones, if I have growing interest in certain ones, they'll be in the series. I wanted to do one on the Celtic pantheon, but there's still a lot of research I want to do on that one. So I'm going to go with one that I don't know everything about, but I've had an interest in for quite a long time. And that is the Hindu Pantheon. Now, I will be going over the basic facts about these deities and what I know and, what I think and this and that. So, Hinduism has been something that has interested me for a long time. I've done a few videos on it. Another name for the religion would be the Sanatana Dharma. I've kind of gone back and forth with this religion because there is so much different information out there. Also, Hinduism or the Dharma is something that is so vast that there's just so many different opinions about it. Some see it as polytheistic, some see it as monotheistic. I've talked online to Hindus who are actually atheists. There are people who say if you believe you're a Hindu, you're a Hindu. There's others that believe that you must be born as one. There's also the issues on women. There are strict goddess worshippers. There are people who are just normal in between that worship God and goddess and, have respect for both genders equally. And then there are people who believe that women should be submissive. And they're going back to the strict goddess ones. There's probably ones that believe that for men too, but I see it more for the women. So as being, an American woman who, is not of the cultural descent of ones that dominantly practice Hinduism, such as countries like India, I have very little, or I had very little knowledge of it, growing up, because it's just not something that you really hear about outside of TV and stereotypes and such. So when, I was old enough to get online and everything, I started talking to people and I was given different information. Some kind of went with the stuff I just said and some was totally different stuff I never knew. And I'm lucky I found that other stuff because I would not have given Hinduism a chance at all. I have not really practiced a religion truthfully 100% because I'm still learning stuff. I haven't been to church in a long time, except for a couple occasions, or any other kind of temple. So I've never been to a Hindu place of worship or any other place really, even some in Christianity. So I'm not claiming to be an expert here. This is just a fun little video to share knowledge that I know and hopefully learn more. So here we go. This here is Brahma. He is known as the creator of the Trinity. He is not really worshipped anymore, to my knowledge, but he still kind of plays an important role as part of the Trinity because, it really doesn't make sense that, it would exist without him, obviously, because there's the creator, the preserver, and then the destroyer. But from my knowledge, there's not a whole lot of him that is talked about anymore. In fact, his wife, Sarasvati, is actually more well known or more worshipped than he is. And as you can see, Brahma actually, I'm sorry, has 4 heads. Actually, in this picture here, it looks like 3, but it's supposed to be 4. From a story that I have read, and there are many different interpretations of these kind of things that you'll notice in many different cultures, really. Well, one story is that Brahma and Shiva were fighting over superiority when a light appeared. Apparently, they both tried to reach the end of this light, and something had happened where Brahma had presented this flower as a form of false evidence of, I believe, reaching the end of the light. And when caught in this lie, his one head or face was actually destroyed by Shiva. And that is one of these stories. It is also said that the faces represent the fact that there is nothing that he does not see or hear within the universe. Next is a deity who is the second in the Trinity, which is Vishnu, who is the preserver. Now, Vishnu actually is one of the few that have his own sect around him, which is known as Vaishnavism. Now, the thing about Vishnu is that he has different incarnations that have appeared on Earth, or so, such as Rama, or the more well-known Krishna. I kind of have my issues with Vishnu, really. Not really the god himself, but coming back to the whole issues about women and such. Vaishnavism has its elements of sexism, but there's also equality depending on the sect. So let's get into the deity himself. It is said that his name means all-pervading. He is basically the one who keeps the moral order of the universe. He is known as a deity who is compassionate, loving, and peaceful. Okay, so I wanted to stop here to talk about my issues with Vaishnavism. I don't know a whole lot about the different sects of Hinduism. Usually most people I talk to are just Hindu, not a lot of them follow denominations or sects or whatever you want to call it. The thing is that here in the US, a big introduction to Hinduism was the Hare Krishna movement. And if you really look up their founder, there's a lot that I see that's totally opposite of other things I've learned in Hinduism or about it. Their founder was extremely sexist, and I don't mean that in the fact that, you know, gender roles or whatever, though he extremely believed in that. But he did think that women were less intelligent than men. I've also heard that he once said that he didn't believe that Hitler was a very bad guy. Yeah. And just what I see out of that movement and what I've learned about it is so, like I said, totally opposite of other things I've learned about the Hindu religion. And the thing is, they consider themselves, I believe, Vaishnavas or Vaishnavites. Probably saying that incorrectly. But they do consider themselves Hindu from what I know, and followers of Vishnu, especially Krishna. And so, the sad part is, you know, a lot of Americans are going to be introduced to Hinduism that way. Now, there are other sects that I've learned about, such as one I believe called Sri Vaishnavism, which I think puts a little bit more emphasis on Lakshmi. And I believe there are a few that do see women as equals, but from what I know, that's not always the case in this particular denomination. Next up is Shiva, or Shiva, who is the third in the pantheon. He is both the destroyer and the restorer of the universe. Basically, he protects and transforms it. He is said to be a god that brings about change and destroying the ego. He is a calm god, but yeah, you know, the destroyer, but it's destroying the bad stuff, the ignorance, you know, the hate, everything like that. Shiva is the god of the yogis. He is said to be a celibate god, but also very much in love with Shakti. So next we will be talking about Shakti, or the goddess, who has many different forms. Right now we see a picture of Parvati, who is one of the forms of the wife of Shiva. Now, she is said to be a goddess of devotion, fertility, love, but also of great strength. She basically was, you know, to my knowledge, a goddess you really couldn't push around despite being a more gentle goddess. There is a story about Shiva being away for quite a long time, and she had made their son Ganesh. Ganesh, not knowing who he was, tried to stop Shiva from entering the home as his mother bathed. Being angry, of course, Shiva took off his head, which is where the story of Ganesh having an elephant head comes from, because basically Parvati demanded that Shiva fix what he did and go and find their son a new head, hence the elephant head. Next is a goddess who surrounds a little bit more of a controversy, Sati. So, Sati, the thing about it is, a lot of people believe there is mistranslation, stuff is not what it's supposed to be. There are other reasons why this has happened. The thing is that before Parvati and the other goddesses, which maybe I should have done her first, Sati was in love with Shiva. However, her father did not approve of him. And since she was so heartbroken and everything, she had committed suicide by fire because her father was just not gonna let them be in peace and everything, and he kind of embarrassed them and just did not approve. So because she loved Shiva so much, she decided to commit suicide. The thing is that there has been a practice called Sati, in which when the husband dies, the widow burns herself. Now, some say that this is a mistranslation of scripture, a misunderstanding. Others say it's because of actually because of invading forces in the country and everything, and it had nothing really to do with religion. And the thing really is that the tradition of widows burning themselves after their husband dies, you really can't blame on like the Vedas or anything else. I can't remember exactly which book this story was in, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it might have been those. The thing is that Shiva didn't die, so killing yourself as a widow for the love and devotion of your husband obviously isn't in the book, because she commits suicide because she, you know, basically can't be with him in peace. So it has nothing really to do with her missing him so much, because he was still alive. The thing is that, yeah, there's things that are just misunderstood and taken way out of context in religion. So just be aware when you hear that it's not really what it seems or what it was supposed to be. There is also a story that Shiva, after Sati had died, that he actually carried her corpse around him, mourning throughout the universe and everything, until somebody shot an arrow at her and just, her ashes went everywhere. And then I believe it was Parvati who meditated on him and tried to let him know that she is Sati, she is like the reincarnation of her, and that's how they got together, and then the whole Ganesh thing and everything. But the thing is, it's very dark, but on the Shiva aspect, it's very beautiful because of his devotion to her as well. Next, we have the badass goddess that is Durga. She is a mother of the universe, the power behind the three gods: creation, preservation, and destruction. Her three eyes represent desire, knowledge, and action. Her stance upon the lion which she rides is a symbol of freedom from fear. Durga was in fact actually created by male gods. The thing was that Shakti, or power, is seen as a feminine force. These gods, with all their powers and everything, could not defeat this one demon. So they had put all of their energy, their power together, and created Durga, this almighty, amazing goddess. And it's just so incredible to know that them putting their power together created this female force, which is very interesting and of course very empowering. Next is Kali. Kali was actually made when Durga could not defeat a demon, an enemy. And there's a mythology behind Kali that she became so bloodthirsty because her tongue, the thing about the demon was every time he got cut, his blood produced another demon, and she kind of soaked it up with her tongue, and that's one of the stories behind it. She is a very misunderstood goddess. She is seen as a consort of Shiva. She is seen as a very dark goddess, but she's actually a loving mother. And the thing is that she is a destroyer of the ego of ignorance, much like Shiva is. The skull she wears, the heads, the arms and everything, that is a symbol of her cutting away at that. It's not actually that she's this demon or whatever that wears freaking severed heads and stuff. No, that is a symbol of her destroying your ignorance, your fear, and everything. She is a goddess of death and nature, from my understanding. Maybe one day I will be doing a more in-depth video of my feelings on Kali. One of my first introductions to paganism was Wicca, and a lot of Wiccans take from different pantheons. Of course, making this video, I obviously have a big interest and love of the Hindu Pantheon. I don't know what would qualify as somebody being your patron or matron god, whichever term you want to use, depending on the gender and everything. The thing is that something keeps calling me back to Kali. It really does. Next is Lakshmi, or Lakshmi. She is the consort or wife of Vishnu. She is the goddess of good fortune and prosperity. Now, when we say goddess of wealth, we do mean both physically, material-wise, and spiritually. Here's another goddess that is a favorite of mine. She is the wife or the consort of Brahma. She is Sarasvati. She is a goddess of learning, knowledge, science, literature, art, knowledge, as it says. there is something I read about her actually teaching the Vedas to Brahman. And of course, as I said earlier, she is actually more widely worshipped than he is. So Sarasvati is actually up there with the patron god thing as Kali is. I am a writer, through passion and everything, not professionally. And I do love poetry. I love learning about different things. And this is a big reason why I connect to this goddess so much. And some people have more than one gods they follow and everything, or deities. She is kind of on that equal playing field with Kali. I just love what she represents. Here's another goddess that I have mixed feelings about, and that is Radha. So the thing about Radha is she almost seems exclusive to Vaishnavism. She is a consort of Krishna. The thing about it is, I've heard different things. I've heard that she is in love with Krishna and is this obedient woman and other stuff, whereas others see her as actually more powerful than he is. People say that Krishna can enchant the world, but she can enchant Krishna. I've also heard her being called the goddess of gods. Alright, Nate wants to say hi.
Hi.
Okay, let mommy talk, alright? Alright, so last on the list, but certainly not least, as I hear there are about 300 maybe? No, 330 million gods or deities within the Hindu Pantheon. This one right here is one that I have on my altar, and this is Ganesh.
Yep,
He is the god of removing obstacles. Mm-hmm. He is the son of Shiva and Parvati. Now, the thing about Ganesh, it said that the reason his ears are so big, which they kind of look small in this statue here, is so that he can hear the cries and the prayers of everyone in the world. Now, The thing is, Hinduism is often a very symbolic religion. So
like symbolism. Like God, he helped people. He gave away a bad thing, right?
Exactly. So he takes away all the obstacles and everything. And that's what he is a symbol of.
Do he store it?
Does he what?
Do he store it?
Maybe. But yeah, I just love this little statue, and he sits on there. He is one of my patron gods after Christ. So, yeah. I don't remember where I was going with this. Oh yeah, so the thing about his tusk is that it said that he broke it off to write a holy book. The Vedas, I think it was. I don't remember everything, why they hold certain stuff. They all symbolize things, and you can go very in-depth, more than I am. But anyways, that is the end of this video. Sorry if it was kind of long.
Yep. Goodbye, people.
Say bye-bye, Nady.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.